Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly Power Lounge. This is your place to hear authentic conversations from those who have power to share. My name is Amy Vaughn, and I am the owner and Chief Empowerment Officer of Together Digital, a diverse and collaborative community of women who work in digital and choose to share their knowledge, power, and connections. You can join the movement at togetherindigital.com. And today, we are shaking things up with a fresh perspective on marketing. If any of you have ever wondered how maybe marketing techniques could revolutionize your marketing game, well, you're about to find out. Everyone, meet Gina Tabasso. She is our guest who is about to show you how that you can leverage Six Sigma magic. You're probably wondering what that is. Don't worry. We're going to help you all solve that problem. We don't get too worried. I know it sounds technical and it's not meant to scare you off. What's fabulous about Gina is she is going to show you just how powerful this tool can be and how it can help us work smarter, but not harder. Right? Every marketer's dream. That's what we all wish for and want, right? Gina is not just talking the talk. She's walking the walk with a Lean Six Sigma green belt under her belt. Sounds pretty cool, right? And a black belt in the works. She has completed the Six Sigma projects. Six Sigma projects. How's that for a mouthful? But here is the kicker. She is taking all that manufacturing know-how and applying it to marketing, which I just found so fascinating. So we were having kind of like a member one-on-one and catch up. She was giving me kind of an update on her world and her life and her work. And I thought, yeah, we need to like bring this to the rest of the Together Digital community and beyond. Because, Gina has over 30 years of marketing experience. She's been in the trenches along with us folks with over 25 different manufacturers and industrial companies. Gina has got a very unique view on how to streamline our marketing processes. So everyone get ready so that we can cut the fluff, boost our efficiency, and make our marketing efforts really count. Gina is about to show us how to level up our game, and trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. Welcome, Gina. We're so excited. Can't wait to dive in with you into the world of Lean Six Sigma marketing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm passionate about marketing. I'm passionate about manufacturing. And when you can put the two together and the two worlds collide, it's even more exciting. So I kind of am on a mission to share this with the world.
No, I really appreciate it. Yeah. Any kind of like unique perspectives that we can bring into it. I think that's one thing about the space that we're in, right? We are in digital and marketing, especially. And it always makes me scratch my head that why do we continue to do the same things in the same way? Always when we're in an industry that is constantly evolving. So, and I love taking sort of and looking at other industries and the ways in which they do things and like layering in new ideas and techniques. So I love it. So, okay. Some of us are scratching our heads still. What is Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma? How would you describe that in simple terms?
Okay, it really is simple. And I'll even give you an example that'll make it even easier to understand. So Lean is one methodology and Six Sigma is another methodology. And when you combine them together, they're called Lean Six Sigma. And so Lean is about waste reduction. How do you eliminate waste? Six Sigma is how do you improve processes? So when you combine them together, you improve processes and you eliminate waste. And eliminating waste means like decreasing variation, avoiding rework, improving efficiencies in processes. And it's all data driven. So Lean Six Sigma is very data dependent and data heavy. Lots of charts and graphs and all kinds of technical terms and things you have to use in your journey on a project. So I can take the principles I've learned and apply them to marketing because a process is a process.
Yeah.
So you want to streamline your process. You want to optimize your resources. You want to improve the effectiveness of your campaigns to achieve better results. So there's not much difference in a manufacturing process on a shop floor and a marketing process in the front office. Lean Six Sigma started in manufacturing, But interestingly enough, it's being used everywhere. I got my yellow belt
Hmm.
at a university. And I have a friend who's a master black belt. He works primarily with hospital systems. So they're using it all over to streamline processes. And I want to real quick explain those belts because people are
Yeah,
like, huh, what does she do?
definitely.
Karate or
I know,
something?
right? I mean, you're kicking some
I,
butt, but it's just metaphorically, right?
I like that, kicking butt. Um, so it was based on the karate system.
Uh-huh.
And so you have the same belts, a white belt, a yellow belt, a green belt, a black belt, a master black belt. So if you've ever taken your kids to karate class, don't cringe. This is much more fun.
Hmm.
Um, so a yellow belt that's where I started, and you kind of review processes. A green belt, you can lead projects and assist with data collection, but you usually have to work with a black belt.
Okay.
A black belt can completely do a project. They can train other people under them.
Hmm.
And then a master black belt is the one who runs all the Six Sigma belts in the organization and looks at process improvement throughout an organization, not just on the shop floor, but in HR and marketing and sales, in operations. And how do we make the entire system more effective?
Hmm.
So that's a little bit about
Very
about the
cool.
process. If you want me to give you an example,
Okay. Yeah,
this is extremely oversimplified,
that's okay.
so don't try this at home. But this is the uncomplicated version without doing all these crazy things like
Yeah.
Gantt charts and RACI charts and
Uh-huh.
Gemba walks and Kanban boards. Those are all components of Lean Six Sigma. I mean, it does
Yeah.
take a lot of training.
Hmm.
But once you see it, you can't unsee it, and you filter the whole world through that lens.
Mm.
So an example, you had asked me, we talked earlier,
Hmm.
Amy, and you talked about that aha moment
Hmm.
when I realized this could be applied to other things. It
Hmm.
wasn't originally marketing, it was
Hmm.
feeding my cat.
That's so funny.
I'm in the kitchen, and my process is like most people.
Uh-huh.
You go to the floor where the cat food bowl or dog food bowl is. You pick it up, you take it to the counter.
Hmm.
You go to the closet and you get out your bag of cat food, take it to the counter, fill up your little bowl, take the bowl back to where it is on the floor and put it down for your pet. Then go back to your counter, get your bag of cat food and put it in the closet. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Once I knew Lean Six Sigma, I
Hmm.
said, Dummy, pick up the food bowl and take it to the bag of food
Ah.
in the closet, or grab the bag of food and take the bag of food to the bowl and fill it
Yeah.
up. You don't need to keep taking these trips back and forth to the
Uh-huh.
counter. That's a really simplified version of Lean Six
Sure.
Sigma. It's
Hmm.
decreasing variation, decreasing waste,
Hmm.
increasing efficiencies.
I love
You
it.
can, even do it when you feed your pet.
I love it. Well, and here's what I like about it because there's just so much about, and this is probably funny coming from somebody who's formerly a creative director, right? A creative, right? What is creative? What do creatives, why do creatives care about process? Because process makes way for more time spent being creative because there's less of that back and forth. When you create efficiencies, you are clearing the way for more time, less time spent wastefully, more time spent productively. And the
Hmm.
productive work is the time spent making the work good versus the back and the forth and the back and the forth. And that's what I always have loved. And people have always scratched their heads at me going, why do you give a damn? Like, get out of the process, creative. What are you doing over here? And I said, no, I've always cared about the process. I've always questioned and kind of, tried to see like, how can we make it better and more efficient, which is exactly why I glommed onto this as soon as we started talking about it in our one-on-one, because again, like you're saying, it's like these simple ways of reducing waste and making process to kind of cut out those extra steps. How much more time in your morning now are you saving? How much more energy? What about mental load? Like all these different things that we just don't think about. Like it's not just those fringe benefits of, time and money, which are obviously great, but those extra benefits that your employees might see that your clients might see and feel as well. So I just think it's really, really awesome. Well, before we keep nerding out too much, because I could, obviously, uh,
Me
process
too.
nerd, I would love it if you could share a little bit more about your career journey and how you've kind of moved through manufacturing to marketing and, where kind of the whole Lean Six Sigma began to fit into the process.
Yeah. Well, when I was in college, back then it wasn't called marketing, it was called advertising.
Hmm.
So there were advertising agencies,
Yep.
not marketing agencies. So I graduated with an advertising degree
Hmm.
and planned to go work for an agency. What I didn't know when I got out of college and started interviewing is that agencies paid nothing.
Yeah.
They were back then it was just you needed to live at home with your parents or have three roommates to survive on the wage they were paying.
Mm.
So I somehow got an interview. I applied for a job I saw in probably in the newspaper back then because there
Yeah.
was no internet.
No.
And I got an interview with a manufacturing company, and
Mm.
they made vibration analysis equipment for large rotating machinery to predict bearing health and try to
Hmm.
keep the machine from breaking down by replacing the bearings before they wore out. And so I worked with them, and they also had a subsidiary that manufactured the life support systems for Space Station Freedom.
Oh, cool.
So it was an interesting first job.
Yeah.
And then from there, I ended up going into manufacturing, trade, industrial. I worked in construction 12 years. I worked in automotive 6 years. Um, I ran Machining Magazine, two welding magazines, a construction trade newspaper. So that's when I really started learning manufacturing and learning about milling, drilling, boring, lathing, tolerances,
Hmm.
cobots, robots, all the equipment, and started to get really fascinated because even right now, like take a pause wherever you are, look around the room, look at what's on your body,
Yeah.
look at what's inside your car, look at what's
Hmm.
inside your office. Every single thing has been manufactured.
Absolutely.
Somebody made those things. Somebody invented those things. Somebody developed the process to manufacture them. And it's fascinating. Like when you do a plant floor visit and walk through a facility, it's not like it was in our parents' age. It's not a
Hmm.
dirty, noisy. They're so clean now and efficient. You could eat off the floor. It's amazing to go into these facilities. So I was started falling in love. I did a couple deviations to get specific kinds of experience. I went to Smucker to get CPG experience. I went to PNC Bank to get financial experience. And then luckily, I landed at Case Western Reserve University to get higher education experience. And that is where I was introduced to Lean Six Sigma. They taught Lean Six Sigma, and so they wanted their employees to walk the walk, not talk the
Right.
talk. So everyone was required to get a yellow belt, and I, as a manager, was required to do 3 Lean Six Sigma projects per year. So I was there 2 years. That's when I completed my 6 projects. Then I kind of left the lean behind, kept trudging through distribution and manufacturing. Fast forward to a year ago, I joined another manufacturer, and he wanted everybody in the company to have at least a green belt,
Hmm.
and he wanted me to get my black belt. So last year I earned my green and I'm working on my black now. To get a black belt, it really is doing a black belt project.
Okay.
So I'm doing a process improvement project for him. And then during that time, I started my consulting business. And then in May, I decided to go full time with my consulting business and try to not do it on the side part
Yeah.
time, but try to make a living of that. And that's really last year when I formed my business and got that green belt, that's
Hmm.
when lean and marketing started to really coalesce for me.
Right. I love it. That's so cool. Just kind of seeing the fusion of that experience. Because earlier you said too, data driven being like Lean Six Sigma being so data driven. It makes a lot of sense because yeah, I mean, what are we
Hmm.
talking about here all the time in marketing anymore? Data, data, data. So I can see how the two have become even more and more married. But when was that first moment, maybe for you, that you really kind of noticed that, like marketing and Lean Six Sigma, like I could kind of fuse these. I honestly think you do have a great, independent contractor, small business, like unique selling proposition there too, just to go like right into marketing speak there too.
Yeah, I'm pretty niched. I mean, I do
Yeah.
B2B marketing, but my
Hmm.
passion's manufacturing. I guess when I first realized it, when I was with the university, I was actually doing marketing for them.
Hmm.
And so when I had to do those six Lean Six Sigma projects, they had to be in my department.
Mm.
So they were, decreasing paper waste, increasing efficiency with editing, just how do I manufacture a better product if we're printing out all these materials for students?
Hmm.
How do I find a printer that's maybe doing offset printing at digital prices with better quality of paper? And
Hmm.
so I was looking at saving money or
Hmm.
making a product better. Right now, the Black Belt project I was working on for my former employer is about customer satisfaction. And so, right, the Lean Six Sigma, you already have to have a process. It's not for new processes. It's taking an existing process and improving it. So, their process for customer satisfaction, measuring satisfaction, taking that feedback is pretty word of mouth. The salespeople hear something, they may or may not say
Yeah.
something. Someone complains, the salesperson tries to help them. So I really wanted to put a stronger process in place. And of course, net promoter score
Yeah.
for marketers, that's the thing.
Hmm.
And so I'm going to do a project around that, around net promoter score, improving our processes, taking that feedback and growing, looking at opportunities, and then also trying to save customers who may be disgruntled by addressing their concerns, and also trying to get those reviews online to help with SEO
Hmm.
and with your Google ranking. So it's kind of this process that can be more valuable than the way it's currently being done.
Very, very cool. So, as I mentioned just a moment ago, uh, digital marketing, we talk a lot about data. In fact, we're kind of drowning in it most times. How could Lean Six Sigma help us make sense of all these metrics and possibly use them more effectively, do you think?
Yeah, well, what I tell people, like on a very basic level, how to apply Lean Six Sigma to marketing. There's something, the foundation of Lean Six Sigma. It's called DMAIC. And DMAIC is an acronym that means define,
Hmm.
measure, analyze, improve, control.
Mm,
And so in manufacturing, that of course looks very different than in marketing.
sure.
But you can take the same DMAIC tool and say, okay, I need to clearly define the scope of my marketing projects, my strategy, set my goals, identify KPIs. Then I need to measure that process. So I need to track and analyze my marketing data to identify areas of inefficiency and potential areas of improvement. Then I need to analyze. I need to analyze that data to understand the root cause of problems and how I can optimize that process. Then improve. Once I've analyzed all that and identified the root cause, then I can implement changes to my process based on my analysis and data driven insights to improve that process. And then, of course, you don't want to just improve it and leave it.
Right.
You want to control it. So
Yes.
monitor your improvement,
Hmm.
ensure your process remains optimized, and adjust as you go along. It's not a one and done. It's process improvement is a process. It is continual
Right.
through the lifetime of that process.
Hmm.
So that's kind of how I take a principle and
I love
apply
it.
it. And then I also look at like the waste elimination. Like
Hmm.
there are four wastes in Lean Six Sigma. There's time waste,
Hmm.
resource waste, rework waste,
Yep.
defect waste.
Mm.
Look at marketing. You've got the same problems.
Yeah.
We can eliminate time consuming activities that don't contribute to your goals. AI helps us now. AI helps us with repetitive tasks.
Hmm.
Um, we can streamline workflows. We can eliminate unnecessary meetings.
Hmm. Oh,
Resource
please.
waste. Resources are budgets.
Oh,
So if we target
yes.
the right audience, the right channels, the right content, we
Mm-hmm.
can be more efficient and optimize our budgets.
Absolutely.
Rework, we've all done rework and we hate it, don't we? You know, if
Yeah.
you don't have a clear process in place, you don't
Uh-huh.
standardize procedures, you end up going down a road and then readjusting and redoing and doing something over. And then
Yes.
defect is, of course, mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that quality versus quantity thing we all are challenged by in this culture nowadays.
Yeah.
Do more with less.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you're moving at the speed of light, you
Mm-hmm.
make mistakes.
Yeah.
And so if you use this waste elimination and DMAIC
Mm-hmm.
process, you can like decrease the number of errors and defects in your marketing materials and deliver desired results.
Right.
Um, I Lean Six Sigma. What Six Sigma means is they only allow in manufacturing 3.4 defects per million. So
Wow.
if you're manufacturing a million teddy bears,
Mm-hmm.
less than 4 of those can have messed up stitching or eyes or a nose. So that's not many, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the goal in manufacturing, is to get it down to that little
Yeah.
defect.
Yeah. I mean, I could really see that. I can't tell you how many times I've thought about, especially once I left bigger agencies and went to smaller places and then returned as maybe a external partner into those spaces or a vendor contributing. And we were there for a simple kickoff meeting and there would be 10 people from the agency in the room. And I'm like, this is a very
Ah,
expensive meeting, or that terrible game of telephone when it comes to feedback. And the people that needed to hear the feedback were often not invited into the room or they were mismanaged. I'm going to use my air quotes as resources. That's one of my jargon swear words that I would like to put in the jar because I'm like, they're people, they're talent. I would rather call them something other than the word resources because it makes them feel like objects other than people. But when you mismanage your talent and where they're spending their time, if they're not there to firsthand receive and hear client feedback and you're playing that game of telephone, it's so easy sometimes to see and hear or not hear how that feedback
mhm.
gets misconstrued, misinterpreted, or kind of sent in a way that just doesn't, it causes that rework. And I can totally see too. And I'm like, as you're speaking, I'm like in my head, I feel the dread and the terror from some folks that are probably on the creative side, like manufacturing process in a creative environment. But I'm like, I'm telling you, folks, I feel that if you create these kinds of opportunities for efficiencies, then you have that opportunity to be more free, to spend more time creating. And like you said, minimize unnecessary meetings. I can't tell y'all how many times and how many years I spent from 9 to 5, sometimes 6 in meetings at my agency only to actually get to my creative work or reviewing creative work once I was a creative director after 5 and 6 o'clock in the evening. And
Yeah,
this
we
is why
can't
we
get the
have
work done
burnout.
because we're in meetings all day.
Right.
I love what you said when you talked about the communication
Mm-hmm.
and also that buy-in, because in
Yeah.
Lean Six Sigma, you have what you call a project sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to be that person at the top that is
Mm.
totally bought in and committed to this project. And it's
Nice.
that top-down mentality. Like, they're going to make sure that everyone under them
Yeah.
is just as committed. And then your stakeholders have to own the process. It's not a Lean Six Sigma person coming in telling you how to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's you figuring out how to do stuff, you figuring out how to make changes so that you are part of the process. You
Right.
own the process. You have skin in the game and you're invested.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, they say, okay, if you do all this stuff, how do you make that sustainable? Like, how can I make sure my marketing is successful in the long term?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, you've got 4 key components. And one of those that I tell people is collaboration and communication.
Yes.
So if you've got the data-driven decisions
Mm-hmm.
and you've got this analysis, this tracking, these metrics, and then you've got this culture of continuous improvement to identify opportunities and optimize and streamline processes, then to make it happen, you need to foster strong communication and collaboration, especially between marketing and sales.
Yes,
That's where it's
please.
always
Oh my
lacking. And
gosh. Always
I'm
breaks
a,
down.
I'm, we won't even go. That's a whole
It's a
separate
whole nother hour, right?
podcast. but sales and marketing need to be collaborative.
Agreed.
My marketing is only going to be as successful as your sales.
Oh, yeah.
And when I go in on an engagement, I look at the sales team.
Uh-huh.
I interview them all.
Hmm.
I look at sales process, sales cycle, sales timeline, sales training,
Yeah.
especially in manufacturing. Your salespeople a lot of times are brilliant mechanical engineers or machinists who are technically savvy and can talk about the product perfectly, but they may not be sales trained. So they
Yeah.
don't know how to convert.
Right.
And then the last piece, which is can never be forgotten, and it's the total end goal of Lean Six Sigma: customer focus, customer centric.
Hmm.
Put the customer at the center of your marketing strategy. Focus on their needs, their preferences, their journey. And I feel like with those things combined, you will
Hmm.
have a sustainable, successful long game in your marketing program.
Yeah. Very cool. I love it. Well, you already touched on the marketing waste, so we'll kind of breeze past that one, I think, right? Was there anything you wanted to add to that? Or did we cover all
No,
those?
no, I
Okay.
think
Okay.
I
We got
covered it
those.
on a high level, and if I
Uh-huh.
go any deeper, I'm gonna lose people or snooze people.
Oh, I don't
Lose or
know.
snooze.
We like to nerd out around here, but yeah, we'll move on to the good old ROI, the return on investment in digital marketing. How do you see Lean Six Sigma helping to improve our return on investment when it comes to this? I mean, there's probably some obvious ones there, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's the for me, especially in manufacturing, when I go into these small to mid-sized companies, their CRM is an Excel spreadsheet.
ouch.
Can't show an ROI.
Nope.
So one of my first goals is CRM
Hmm.
implementation and configuration and the whole, marketing automation, sales engagement,
Yeah.
CRM portion of that. That's usually honestly the first part of the project I end up having to work on. And then that second part of understanding the sales cycle. So if you tell me your sales cycle is a year and a half normally, and then you get upset when your marketing team only brings you one qualified lead in 3 months that converts. Well, I just decreased your sales cycle by 2/3. I
Yeah.
mean, you told me it's a year and a half.
Right.
So we have to hold our measures and how
Hmm.
we're measured against other measures in the company, which is why we need to work with sales. We can't work in isolation.
Mm,
Um, I also, we have to track data, and if we do that properly with our sales and marketing teams, that's the way to show ROI. And
yeah.
I think a lot of times, marketing departments tend to be very marketing focused. Like, here's the number of leads I generated. Here's the number of visits to our website. Here are the number of new followers. We're successful. And
Hmm.
a lot of times, after an MQL is handed off to the sales team, it's
Hmm.
kind of like, okay, we're moving on to bring more people into top of funnel and nurture them.
Right.
But we're not looking at those conversion points and how many qualified leads do you need to get to quote how many projects? And of those, how many projects you quote, how many of those convert?
Convert.
And then
Yeah.
that's going to inform me about what I need to do in my marketing process. So you've almost got to work backwards. And
Yeah.
usually we're working forwards.
Hmm.
So that's kind of how I approach ROI and making sure that what I'm doing is converting.
Yeah. I love that idea of flipping it on its head and looking at your qualified leads in a different light. And I also have to just get on in one more quick soapbox before we jump on to the next question. It is that because when you look at where budgets get cut first, it
Yeah.
is always marketing and it is never sales, right?
Yes, I've been there, done
Right.
that.
To the bane of much of our listeners right now, which, by the way, live listeners, don't forget, use the chat. I already see we've got some members that are singing your praises. Gina, some community members from Together Digital that are listening. Wendy says hi in particular, but don't feel afraid. Use that chat if you've got some other questions that we're not hitting on here with Gina as well. We've got some time at the end, especially for you all to ask questions. So feel free to, please. We love questions. All right, let's
Mhm.
go through a little bit of a real world example of how you've applied Lean Six Sigma into a digital marketing campaign.
Well, I'm not I'm not necessarily applying it to a marketing
Okay.
campaign per se,
All
because
right.
Lean Six Sigma is more project based,
Right.
more process
So
focused. I
more
mean,
outside, like
so
how
it's more
you
the
get it
components,
done. Mm-hmm.
the components. So as I'm looking at elements of a marketing strategy, like I said, how do I increase efficiency with printing, or how
Yeah.
do I increase efficiency with um, revision processes? How do
Yeah.
I increase efficiency with customer feedback and customer reviews? And so I've been doing it more on elements of the process,
Right. Like the
rather than like,
creation, like campaign creation process versus like the campaign itself. That makes
yeah. and
sense.
and I'm not, and I've got to say, I'm not doing a Lean Six Sigma project every single day of my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something you do all the time. It's like you identify those opportunities. So if a process isn't broken, you don't need
Right.
Lean Six Sigma on that process. It's more when you identify that root cause problem. You have to have a problem that needs to be solved, and then you bring the Lean Six Sigma in to solve it.
I like
It's
it.
not applying it to every process that exists.
Yes. I appreciate that as well. And we've had that conversation, I think, before, actually, within the terms of AI with a podcast we did with Katie Robert. We talked about don't be a solution in search of a problem. And just because this is a shiny new object thing, we tend to do this in marketing, right? We get so excited. A new tool, a new idea. Let's just apply it to everything. So like how can we manage and make sure that we maintain and contain that? So I love that you mentioned that. All right. In digital marketing, we know that trends do tend to change fast. How do you feel that Lean Six Sigma, its concept of continuous improvement, could fit into
Uh-oh.
our need to stay agile?
My screen just froze, but I got the gist of that.
Did you? Okay, I was gonna say, if not, I'm happy to repeat it.
No, I did. I just thought I lost you for a minute. A few days ago,
Mhm.
my internet kind of blipped out, and I lost a call
So
that I was on, and I was like, please don't let that be happening now,
technology.
because this is a very important call. Um, no, how do I understand that you said that, trends are changing fast, and how can Lean Six Sigma help
Hmm.
us stay agile?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Now Agile is a whole nother framework.
True. That
That's
word in
another
particular, I
methodology.
was like, I said that whole phrase. I was like, agile is exactly what another thing like outside of
There are
AI.
so many
Agile
of
was
them
something
out
else.
there.
Yeah.
There's so many. There's
Sprints,
5S and there's
agile.
Agile. Agile, I've used Agile more. I've seen it more used in the IT tech space with
Yeah.
like Scrum Masters and
Yes.
and managing developers and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
they're very compatible systems.
Okay.
So I think we're always asked, usually in our cultures nowadays, to get better, right?
Yeah.
We usually in our jobs, it's all about growth. It's
Uh-huh.
not about status quo or
No.
stagnating or staying put. It's about
Mhm.
constantly growing and improving. So I think that we all do different kinds of professional development. One person may want to learn how to edit video, another may want to learn how to do InDesign. This was my geeky thing from manufacturing. I don't know how to edit video and I don't know how to use InDesign, but I know
Right.
Lean Six Sigma.
Yeah.
And so it's helped me be agile in a different way because of the clients I work with. Marketers love to go into manufacturing companies and talk to them like a marketer, and you
Yeah.
can't. You
Mm.
can't. You go in there with SEO and PPC and SEM and blah, blah, blah. These
What do
manufacturers
those
don't
words
understand
mean?
that. They don't speak that
It's
language.
alphabet soup.
So if you have Lean Six Sigma, I can
Hmm.
speak their language. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to force them to speak my language.
Mm.
And so it helps me when they know that I have a manufacturing mindset
Hmm.
and that I really get their business. It also helps me. This is a naughty thing. I hope there's no manufacturers watching. It helps me to call them to the carpet and kind of get them to eat crow, because
Yeah.
they love to do Lean Six Sigma on their shop floor,
Uh-huh.
but they
They don't
blow it
expect
away
it.
with their other processes.
Yeah.
So they love to get me to do rework,
Hmm.
and they love to change things up and
Yeah.
to start at the end of the process. They all want
Uh-huh.
to hire you to do lead generation.
Yeah.
Well, you have no CRM, your website's a piece of poo poo.
Yep.
You have no SEO, you have no content, but you want me to do lead generation.
Uh-huh.
Wait a minute, time out, Lean Six Sigma. Would you dream up a new product you're going to manufacture tomorrow and just go start making it?
Uh-huh.
No, you're going to do the research, the people, the pricing, the budget. You're going to
Yeah.
put all that process in place.
Love
Why
it.
would you do different with me? Why would you set me up for failure?
Oh.
And you're not going to go to the end of the process. You're going to start at the beginning.
Hmm.
And then they might send you, all of us marketers know it. We've had clients, we've started a lead magnet and they
Hmm.
decided on the topic with you and you do all the research and you write it and they have 6 people review it and they make their changes and their edits. And then they say, put the brakes on. We decided we're not going to do that. We want to do this instead. And so in my world, that's called a change order.
Yep.
That's called rework.
Scope creep, baby.
You don't like rework on your shop floor because it costs you time and money.
Uh-huh.
I don't like rework either. It costs me time and money. And when
Yeah.
I can talk to them in those terms,
Hmm.
the light bulb goes off. They're like, oh, yeah.
I love it. I love
So
it.
there's agility for you, Amy.
I love it. Then that's such a powerful thing that you have just given to our listeners, especially those who are running and owning and operating their own businesses and those who just aren't quite there yet, because that's really all this is. you know, is that if you know your client and speak their language. It is really hard for us because we do love what we do. We're impassioned by it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation right now, right? And it's hard sometimes not to walk into rooms with CEOs and manufacturers and, companies that are outside of our industry and not remember or take the time to really get to know the terms, the concerns, the things that keep them up at night. But it's like, how powerful
Yes.
is that, Gina, that you having that insider knowledge and perspective not only benefits them tremendously, but clearly benefits you because it gives you that ability to speak the language to get them to just quickly understand and know that you know exactly what you're talking about, and to kind of bridge that gap just so
I mean,
quickly
I
between
think
what they're asking for and what you need to be doing as a marketer.
the way I see it, and what you said is so powerful because a lot of times we can't help it. Like the same way that I said, once you see Lean Six Sigma, you can't unsee it.
Right.
And I filter everything through that lens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as marketers, before I knew Lean Six Sigma, my
Yeah.
lens was marketing.
Marketing.
I
Yeah.
filtered everything through that lens.
Mm-hmm.
So with my clients, I
Yeah.
had to realize I have to filter through a different lens.
Oh, yeah.
I need to take off my glasses and put
Mm-hmm.
on their glasses.
Oh, yeah.
And so I put this tool in my toolbox
Mm-hmm.
to try to address that need and kind of like you move to another country, you learn the language
Oh,
so that
yeah.
you can speak the language. It's just a vocabulary, and I had to learn their language to get
Yeah.
their respect.
Definitely.
Manufacturers notoriously do not see the value of marketing.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of times they see it as a cost center rather than a revenue generator
Yep.
because they're not doing it right. They're
Mm-hmm.
hiring agencies to take their money that aren't doing all the other things they should be doing, or they're starting at the end of the process instead of the beginning. And because they don't understand it, they don't understand marketing. So they completely rely on outside experts to guide their process.
Right.
And
Yeah.
sometimes they get good
Yeah.
outside
It definitely
experts
makes
and
me
sometimes
rethink
they
too.
don't.
We've so
Sometimes they
often
get people who
said,
don't understand their
as
industry well.
marketers, we have to play the
And
part of educators.
so I really try to have that sensitivity. And the other thing that I do is I'm very authentic and
Mm-hmm.
I talk to them. I don't go into a manufacturing facility wearing a skirt and high heels.
Yeah.
I go in wearing jeans, hard toe, closed toed shoes, my
Yeah.
safety glasses. I become one of them.
I
I'm
love
not
it.
the other. And a lot of times in certain industries, marketers become the other.
Mm,
And I feel you need to be one of them.
yeah.
And that gains trust.
Smart.
They work with people they trust and like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that authenticity and knowing that you put them first, that you're going to do the right thing, and that if I do the right thing, the money will come,
Mm-hmm.
and that I'm going to take care of them, and in taking care of them, they will take care of me. But it's not about me first, it's about them first.
Right. I absolutely do hope marketer or manufacturers are listening. We got to get you some new clients, Gina. I think they'd be so lucky to have you. I
Oh,
mean, what
thank
a
you.
rare, rare thing to find. I think that's amazing. And you're also reminding me that, yeah, some of the best and most successful client relationships I have had, I think sometimes we bear that burden as marketers of always feeling like we have to be the educators. But sometimes the best marketers are the ones that let themselves fall in love with like the product and the business that they're helping to support. They become as impassioned about it as the person who's owning and running the business themselves. And if you are a small to mid-sized company, especially, oh my gosh, what a gift to have somebody who's helping to promote your business that loves it and understands it and wants to love
Mm,
it and understand it as much as you do.
yes.
You know, that's a hard thing to find. People who will work alongside you in such a partnered and impassioned way. So yeah, I love that. I love that, Gina. They would all be so very lucky to have you. All right, let's talk
Thank
a
you.
little bit. You touched on it about, I think a little bit in this kind of like the language, but cross-functional teams. How can Lean Six Sigma principles maybe help to improve collaboration across marketing and other departments?
Yeah, I mean, I did touch on, having to work in lockstep with the sales team. I mean, it can't
Mm-hmm.
work if you don't. I've been, and I've fought it. I've been in companies where it doesn't want to happen
Yeah.
and it has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that's a top-down mentality. It's got to come from the top. I've been blessed to work with some CEO and company owners that get it,
Yeah.
that get that the two need to inform each other and
Mm-hmm.
not work at cross purposes. Um, I think one of the challenges, and I think marketers need to have a sensitivity for sales. And I think a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
times there's this animosity, like sales think all we do is sit around and write blogs and play on social media. And marketing thinks, oh, all sales does is care about themselves and they don't want to help us and they don't care about what we do. But they're usually commission based. And
Right.
so every action they take does or does not put food in their families' mouths.
Exactly.
And so a lot of times it's hard for them, I think, to make the space to do things like review a blog or give you information
Mm-hmm.
when they don't see the value of it.
Yep.
And so I do go in as an educator and I really have to talk to the sales team about how we can work together. I also think that they're the wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
They're the interface with the customers.
Oh
They're
yeah.
the boots on the streets,
Mm-hmm.
and they bring back very valuable information.
Oh yeah.
So when I go into an organization, honestly, one of my first goals is not marketing.
Mm-hmm.
It is becoming part of the sales team.
Yep.
I ask to come to the sales meetings.
Yeah.
I want to know that team inside out. Sometimes it's hard to get them to use the CRM,
Mm-hmm.
and they do need to because I can't show an ROI if they don't.
Right.
And so sometimes some training is needed,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I initiate that. So marketing is more powerful than you think you are,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a lot to offer other departments. And I think it's just a matter of getting buy-in,
Mm-hmm.
being good at that, and getting them, giving them the wisdom.
Yeah.
Share the wisdom.
Yeah. There's such a powerful opportunity there. And I agree with you. When I kind of downshifted into a smaller marketing organization and had the opportunity to kind of work in lockstep, as you're saying, with the sales team, I loved it. I mean, I had always been thrown into like the pitch scenario. So, kind of not really that sales, like early sales opportunity and identifying potential like leads and things like that. But, just kind of like the pitch. And it was always like, oh, here's the brief, here's the opportunity. Now just stay until 1 o'clock in the morning and pitch this work that we're going to scrap the night before and make you stay till 3 in the morning for. Um, you know, but instead, like the whole potential client relationship building, identifying and finding the kinds of clients that you would like to have and be working with and for, like there's an opportunity for influence as well. And then like looking at
Mm-hmm.
finding those and identifying those clients, potential clients, growing those opportunities, shaping those opportunities, informing those opportunities, winning those opportunities alongside them, and then they too, like at least with us, I think we were just really fortunate. And of course, our whole sales team were guys. So I'm just going to use the term guys because they were all guys. Working with these guys, they were so passionate. I mean, they were working on commission, but they really cared about the types of creative projects we were trying to sell in. And they wanted to see these things come to light too. And so when they sold something in, it was a win for all of us. And so it was kind of a cool thing to be able to sort of like see it all the way through to the end and then share the whole process even along with them, because we would make sure that even by the end of the project, the finalized project, they were still a part of that process and would get to see the end
Mm-hmm.
product, because they were a part of that. We got that because of their time, energy, and effort. And I
See,
think
Amy, you're what I call a bridge builder.
yeah,
It's not about what's in it for me. It's
no,
about how can I know and support you.
yeah.
And one little tip that came
Mhm.
out of what you just said that I
Mhm.
wanted to share with the audience. Think about stretch goals and expanding yourself beyond marketing. Like
Mhm.
as marketers, we want to put new tools in our toolbox. Oh, I need to learn about AI, and I need to learn how to do video editing, and I need to learn how to do this, and it's all marketing related.
Yeah.
And yes, it makes us better marketers. But I think what leveraged me and made me something different
Mhm.
was when I started putting non-marketing tools in my toolkit.
Oh yeah.
And one of those examples is I got my Sandler sales training. So
Very
I have a
cool.
Sandler bronze certification and I did a year of Sandler sales mastery.
Love
I
it.
know how to do budget steps and upfront contracts and pendulum theory and questioning strategy. So again, I speak the language of a
I love it.
salesperson. I can go into my sales team and boy,
Mhm.
do they respect you
Oh
when
yeah.
you're not just a marketer and you get sales and you can
Yes.
drop those terms and you
Mhm.
can understand their process.
Yep.
So I pulled in this thing to understand manufacturers. I pulled in this thing to understand sales.
Wonderful.
So then I become more than a marketer.
Yep.
Years ago, I used to demean myself. I used to say, oh, I can't do that. I don't know anything about strategic planning. I'm just a marketer. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just a content person. And I had a salesman tell me one time, stop that. Stop that.
Good.
You are not just a marketer. You have proven yourself to be more than that. And what the hell is wrong with just being a marketer? Like, be proud of that. You're
Yeah.
good at what you do.
Mhm.
And, I was always the cringing marketing girl and, the
Uh-huh.
sales team and the CEO and everybody's doing their thing and they
Coming
don't
at you.
respect me and I'm losing my job and I'm not valued. So you know what I did? I went out there and got value.
I love
I
it.
have value now. I
Absolutely.
step up to the table, they hear me and they respect me. Because I'm more than just a marketer.
Mhm.
And so I would encourage people to think about your
It's great
industry
advice.
and how you can, blow yourself up. Like,
Mhm.
how do you become even greater and
Oh
more
yeah.
than you ever thought you could be?
Absolutely. I mean, because I can guarantee you, between like just by us partnering in that way, it wasn't something the organization had asked me to do, but I didn't, I wish I'd have gone out and taken all those extra like learnings and accreditations. But just by us like working and partnering together, we sold an extra, and this is a small company, by the way, we sold an extra at least $1 million worth of work in the first year that we started partnering and working
Wow.
together, by upselling and just going after clients that we kind of hadn't, the company hadn't considered or anticipated before. So there's always opportunity in that, for everyone to win. Again, we were working on the kind of work we wanted to work on, and the company was happy because they were, it was hitting the bottom line. So yeah, we've got a couple more questions and then we're going to do our power round. But again, live listeners, don't be shy. If you've got questions, drop them in the chat. Members,
Don't make them too hard for me.
you're up for it, friend. But always you can find Gina in Slack as well for our members. All right. For someone who is inspired to start applying Lean Six Sigma into their marketing work, what is a one maybe actionable tip that they could start to implement this week or today?
Um, yeah. Oh gosh, I'm trying to, it just popped into my brain. I'm trying to think of the name of this book. It's sitting right next to my bed. There, there's a little workbook
Okay.
that is a little start to Lean Six Sigma that I
Okay.
love, and it's about something called value stream mapping,
Okay.
and it looks at you kind of look at your current state, like
Hmm.
what is my current state? Let's document the process as it currently exists, and then let's look at opportunities. Are there opportunities to improve that process? What is our goal? Like if this process isn't working optimally.
Mm-hmm.
What is our goal? What is our future state? What do we want it to look like? And then
Mm,
this little workbook has all these little charts and things that kind of help you map all that
cool.
and get yourself from current state to future state. And I love that because you know what? I've even used it with stupid things
Yeah.
like relationships.
Uh,
Here's the current state of my
I
relationship.
love
Here's
it.
where I want it to be. How do I get there? You know, I told you once you see it, you can't unsee
Ah,
it.
I love it. Yeah, we will dig up the book. We'll search it up and we'll include it in the show notes. And if we can Google and find it fast enough, maybe Kaylee can drop it in the
Yeah,
chat for our live listeners. It's all
I'm
good.
pulling up.
Don't stress yourself about it.
No, I'm pulling up my Goodreads account because
Ah,
I added it that I'm reading it. So
yeah.
I will find it
Okay.
currently reading.
Amanda, one of our live listeners, says that value stream mapping was one of the hardest and activities she's ever done, but is by far the most impactful
Oh,
by
that is so
making a
cool.
better state process. So yeah, I was even thinking this would be amazing. I'm going to check it out for sure too. For goal setting, we have our goal getters group for goal setting and accountability for Together Digital. And I'm like, this could be something that could be really cool for setting and achieving goals that maybe we haven't applied because we have like understanding your productivity style and time blocking and things like that and time management, which I'm also a big nerd for of
I think
and really
one of the
enjoy.
blessings of Lean Six Sigma is seeing it. You know,
Mm,
we talk about it or we write it,
yeah.
but actually, like pictorially,
Hmm.
almost like a storyboard,
Oh,
if you can
nice.
see the process and get it down on paper and actually map it,
Uh huh.
it's not just something up here.
Yeah.
It's out there now.
Uh
And
huh.
and I did look up the name of the book. It's called Learning to See
Okay.
Value Stream Mapping to Add Value and Eliminate Muda. And I'm not going to go into what Muda is, but the book talks about it. There's so many acronyms in Lean Six Sigma. You know,
You know,
you're already inundated with marketing acronyms, and now you're going to dream Lean Six Sigma acronyms.
you're
DMAIC, DMAIC, DMAIC. Don't
right.
forget DMAIC.
Oh, this is so fun. And I love it. Like, I feel like we've learned already so much just in these last like 50 plus minutes. And then, yeah, we've got more. It's like you can take this away and you can start to think about it and kind of look at what you're doing and start to think about how you might apply it kind of from a light style. And yeah, you can start to deep dive and really dig in and check out the book.
I mean,
And
you're not going to be a Lean Six Sigma practitioner unless you
right.
do the coursework and get the certifications and the belts.
Yep.
But you can take principles from it
Mm-hmm.
and elements of it and incorporate it into your life. Like feed your dog and cat differently.
Right.
There's your first step.
Yeah. Baby steps. I'll kind of say, don't come after me, EOS people, but it's kind of like the entrepreneurial operating system and traction. I love it. I love it dearly. It can be very deep and intense, right? And it's
Yeah.
amazing, but I use a light version because we take what we need from it, right? And if I
Hmm.
ever need to go deeper, I absolutely will. Don't come after me, like I said, practitioners. But that's the beauty of these kinds of systems, right? You kind
I
of
have
can
a
take
bunch
what you
of
need.
actually doing what I do.
Uh-huh.
EOS implementers are good referral partners because
Ah,
if they
yeah.
work with manufacturers,
Uh-huh.
we can kind of go in together on engagements.
Uh-huh.
But I never used EOS. I came from a scaling up shop. So
Okay.
I did do some strategic planning using the scaling up methodology.
These are also fascinating to me. And I love that this is visual too. I know that I'm a writer by trade and, whatnot, but still just something about getting things out visually and mapping things very, very, very key, I think, for my brain at least. All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions or comments from our live listeners, we will go into our power round if you're ready, Gina. Yeah?
Okay,
Okay.
I'm ready.
No, don't worry. It's all good. Shake it off. It's just for fun. All right. Spreadsheets or whiteboards for mapping out your marketing strategies? Do you have a
Oh,
preference?
spreadsheets.
Spreadsheet. Oh, yeah. I'm kind of with you. I always feel like all of the world's problems can be solved in a spreadsheet. Don't ask me why.
I'm anal retentive about documentation
Uh
and,
huh.
and structure,
Yeah.
and
Love a good
whiteboards can
spreadsheet.
get kind of
A little
woo,
messy.
and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I like order.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. If I can put it in a box. All right. Early bird or a night owl for tackling marketing projects?
Well, those are two different questions for me. I am definitely a night owl,
Uh huh.
but not for work.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I
That's fair.
tackle my marketing projects during my my daytime,
Uh-huh.
and then I night owl for my private life, but
Yep.
I'm definitely not an early bird. No, no,
Gotcha.
no.
Gotcha. Work hard, play hard. I appreciate that. All right. What is one digital marketing tool that you couldn't live without?
Oh, couldn't live without. Oh, I've got to say, like something like SEMrush, like
Hmm.
the all-in-one tool that analyzes your website, your
Yep.
SEO, your keywords, your oh, when I started to learn that tool years ago, like
Yeah.
my life became so much easier.
All right. Agreed. In one word, can you describe how you feel when you successfully optimize a process?
Um, I, the first thing that comes to mind is two words. Hell
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. I love it.
Woo-hoo!
There's a
Maybe
meme in there
that's one
somewhere.
word.
Write that too. Yep, I like it.
Touching.
Yeah, that too. All right, last one, and then we will wrap. If you could eliminate one common marketing waste forever, what would it be?
Oh, it would definitely be that rework. Like I
Hmm.
hate wasting time, and
Yes.
I hate doing things over and over and over
Mm,
again. I'm a get it
with you.
done kind of person. So I just
Yes.
want to be efficient
Uh
and
huh.
get the product out there.
Absolutely. Well, Gina, we are at time. It went so fast. We wasted no time. We got through this hour so quickly, and it was so much fun getting some extra time with you, getting to feature a
Me too.
fantastic member such as you and all of your amazing, unique talent and skill and passion for everything Lean Six Sigma and marketing. Thanks for taking the time to join us today.
And Together Digital. I'm
Absolutely.
passionate about that too.
Thanks. Goes, it's feelings mutual, my friend. All right, folks, guess what? We're on a break. I'm sorry. I know we'll miss you too. For the next 2 weeks, this girl is out for the next 2 Fridays on vacation.
Oh, yay.
I'm so excited because yeah, it's been a minute. We've had a couple of breaks, but they've been because of events and conferences. So yeah, live listeners, guess what? We have a super duper offer going on. So I'm going to hang here for just a minute and tell you we are doing a BOGO, buy one membership and give a membership to a woman who needs it. The job market
Hmm.
is heinous right now. So if you have the ability to buy yourself and gift yourself the wonderful gift of community, connections, and growing yourself both personally and professionally with an amazing community like Together Digital, one, you should just kind of do that for yourself. And two, now you get the bonus of being able to gift that to another woman in the digital space. Another great thing about this is we also have 1 week left of our sales for early and discounted tickets for members to our national conference, October 17th in Cincinnati, Ohio. Things are really stacking up nicely for this. All of our content, these conversations. Yeah, I mean, I want to tell you guys so much about it, but I don't want to keep going too far over time. It's just, you need to be there. It's going to be incredible. It is going to be limited though. We like small rooms for big conversations. So we're capping the attendance. So make sure if members, if you haven't gotten your ticket, go get it, because the tickets are going pretty fast this year, which is so great. We haven't even started announcing all of our speakers, which we'll start doing next week because we've gotten our opening and closing keynote confirmed. And we might be having some other special, pretty big guests showing up. I'm like completely floored at just the generosity and the interest that people have shown. Um, for this small community and event. I'm like, I'm not letting everybody and their mom in, although I would like to. And people are like, we want to show up and talk to this group of women. I'm like, yeah, okay, great. So please check it out. Join us if you can, togetherindigital.com. Like I said, I know we won't be here for the next 2 weeks, but we have 3 seasons of episodes with amazing, amazing women with loads of great stories about their career experiences, different perspectives on all things digital marketing, advertising, leadership, life in general. We talk about all those things here at Together Digital. Nothing's really off the table. So I hope you check it out.
Hmm.
And I will see you all in a couple weeks, I promise. And then we're in for a very busy fall. So I'm looking forward to spending more time with all of you. Thank you again, Gina. All
Thank
right.
you for coming, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Produced by Heartcast Media.